I didn't start dating until I was in my 30s, and I want to tell you about some things I learned about real recently. Let's get into it. Hi, my name's Alora. I'm a 34-year-old late bloomer, and I didn't so much as hold a boy's hand, go on a first date, let alone have a first kiss until I was 32. It's been a whole journey, okay? But this is actually a question I get asked all the time. How do I deal with anxiety, especially as an anxious girly, okay, about dating someone with more experience as a late bloomer? Now, I am a notorious overthinker, and I worry about everything. When I tell you this was not on my list of worries at all, I'm not trying to invalidate your worry. This is why this particular worry exited my brain very quickly. I think one of the hardest things about being a late bloomer is that we feel that we should have had certain life experiences, hit certain relationship milestones by a certain age. It's a very specific age. Otherwise, you're abnormal, right? Or undesirable or unworthy or whatever other language feeds into that cultural stigma. However, you can't be late for your own life. So we know that's, if you follow this page, we know that those beliefs are garbage. We are locking them up in little boxes and throwing them into an icy lake and walking away before we even reach the bottom. Okay, that's how we feel about those kinds of feelings. They are not true. And the more power we give to them makes them more true. So we got to let them go. So that aside, I knew that I was going to be very insecure about my own lack of experience. So to me, it has always been so encouraging. I've only dated 2 people, okay? Both of those people had been in relationships before. And to me, it was extremely encouraging and helpful that they had some life experience. Like literally, it was not something I was intimidated at all by. I was grateful. I was grateful that I felt like the ways in which I did not yet know how to do something. I didn't know how to kiss someone, for example. I knew that if I was doing it with someone else who had experience, they could help me. And if they couldn't help me, I wouldn't date them. So I actually found it very comforting, okay, for most of the time. There were times I did not find it comforting for very specific reasons. And it's if the person I was with insinuated in some way that I just needed to trust them, like say if we were having an argument, because they had more relationship experience, that I didn't necessarily understand this situation as well as I could, because I had never been in a relationship before. And to that I say, no. Late bloomers aren't living under rocks, okay? I swear we're the most observant people because we are observing social interactions around us all the time. We are taking note of what other people are doing in our lives, outside of our lives. And that informs our decisions as well. Do you learn necessarily the same way that you learn inside of a relationship? No, but it doesn't mean you've been living under a rock. You see how people interact, you know what's healthy or not, or you know what's healthy or unhealthy. So there was absolutely some anxiety for me when I would get into these kinds of fights or arguments and realize you're not hearing me because you think I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm also an adult. I am a grown woman. I have lived a big, rich life. And I can deduce things from my observations. But it doesn't mean that I'm naive if I don't necessarily know something yet. So someone using their experience against me in that context is something that I very much struggled with. In other ways, like physicality, sexuality, or in imparting relationship, boundaries or goals or like healthy relationship things, that was much more reassuring, okay? But it is when it is used against you that it is hurtful. I don't know if that helps. All to say is, if you can, don't take this worry on. Like, if anything, take, I call the bear sometimes Professor Casanova. And class is occasionally in session. And learning can be fun. So it's not a bad thing if your partner has experience, because they can impart some really fun wisdom upon you. That can be very encouraging and exciting. So, I hope that helps.